Hey everyone, and welcome to Trader Jake's channel. Got a few names to go over, as well as the update on SPY in relation to what I said in the last video. So what I was looking for essentially is a move down into last week's lows, which we got when we broke below this red line, which was Thursday's low from last week. This 571.20 is still being a very pivotal price for me, in which you can see how SPY 2 days in a row has opened up directly at my level after stalling there on Thursday. And from here, I'm still thinking that we get a fade to the downside. I am still swinging some SPY shorts that I entered on Friday. And then from here, I'm still thinking that we retest this monthly low, which would be taking out October's low on the monthly chart, which is also a perfect retest of this all-time high breakout. And you can see the all-time high that was set back in July. We broke above it mid-September and we have not looked back. We got two tests of it before getting the massive move up into the 585s. Eventually, we will come down and retest this area. I do think this green trend zone that you can see, but no timeline on that yet. And I'm taking this day by day and not trying to predict the future, but just trying to manage risk on a daily basis and have a plan set in motion for what I expect to happen next based upon what has came before on price. So from here, if SPY is able to stay below my 571.20, get back below last week's lows, test this monthly pivot, and retest this 565, I'm looking for the reaction there. What happens there is going to tell me whether we're getting that continuation lower or not. Because in theory, from where price is at the current moment, around this 570s on SPY, we have a very clean shot to get 560.8 this week, potentially even tomorrow if the market gets destroyed in such an aggressive manner that price is able to fade that entire $9. But we'll see if we're able to fully get that expansion to the downside or if range is going to be a little bit reduced and potentially wait for next week to get the even bigger move. We're going to decide from there whether we want to come back up into this range and get back to my 575.50 or if it's going to fade and get that aggressive move to 560.8. If we do get the actual flush down to 560.8 at any point this week, I am looking to buy the dip with time. It could be not necessarily a V-shaped recovery, and I'm not expecting anything like that, but I do think this would be a buyable dip with a good spot to manage risk against. And from here, after getting this 565 or this 560.80, I'm looking for a move back up into 578, up to 582 area, and potentially counter last week's highs. I don't think it's needs to happen this week for this actual move to play out. But as long as price is respecting my levels from level to level as it has been, then this is my game plan of what I am trying to see and how I will be trading around SPY going into the rest of this week. After SPY, the next name that I have for you guys is Coinbase. Coinbase, I'm more interested in the short personally, as I think that this has a lot better of a trade to the downside in the short term. I'm sure Coinbase does eventually recover and we get that big move up if Bitcoin is going to keep exploding, but I'm here to trade tomorrow. I'm not here to trade 10 weeks from now. So what I'm looking at for tomorrow is essentially a loss of today's low a day. And I want to see acceptance of price below 176.9. And from there, price has a very big range to the downside, down to 168, 164.50, and down into the 158s, which would basically be about in this area. So under this low, I'm looking at a move down into these areas, in which last month's low is right over here, which is at that 159 area. If price is going to continue lower, it's more than likely going to take that out. That would give us that monthly reversal, in which you can see on this monthly chart to the right-hand side. I'm not really interested in this to the long side unless this bases in this general 178 to 188 area for 1 or 2 days, maybe just go sideways some, tighten up price a little bit on the daily chart, and then from there have a better spot to manage risk against. Other than that, I'm not really interested in taking this long. It could get a snapback squeeze, probably will, but my ideal trade on Coinbase for the current moment in the next couple of days is to the downside. as it can be a very aggressive, almost $20 move from the current price. And that could be huge, especially if you're trading options. So the next trade that I'm going to be looking for is Zoom. I have mentioned multiple times in the past couple of months that I do truly believe that IWM and ARKK, which is the ARK ETF, I do think those two ETFs are going to be leaders coming into 2025, or at least potentially get a little bit of this money rotation going into these sectors if the market is going to stay as robust and resilient as it has been and continue this trend in which we likely see SPY 600s and QQQ 550s. And from there, I'm thinking that we are going to get these moves into these names that have been a little bit dormant in the last couple of weeks or last couple of months. As of lately, we're seeing names like Twilio, TWLO starting to break out, as well as Roblox with earnings last week, I believe it was. They got a nice gap up, and I have posted charts on that as well. So I would check that out on my Twitter. But from here on Zoom, I'm basically looking at a sustainment of this general range around 74.20 to $75. And if this is able to continue building like it has been, I'm looking for this monthly breakout to continue into this gap fill. So from 75 up to 78 area, if that's able to hold and sustain upon that move, if it's going to get it, looking for a much bigger move in the coming weeks into earnings. We have earnings on the 19th, it looks like, and I'm looking for a move into this yearly high, which is 85.13 on Zoom. So this could be a $10 move from its current price. These options are pretty cheap, especially if you go like a month out, maybe $5 out the money. That's kind of what I was looking at anyway. So the last name that I'm going to cover, and I will shout out before I even cover this Netflix, is Tesla needs to be on watch the next few days or weeks into OPEX, which is options expiration, the third Friday of every month. I do think Tesla is going to pull a fast one, so just always keep that on watch, set some alerts. With that being said, Netflix is one that is tightening up extremely tight, and it's holding structure so well for what the move had happened after the earnings. It's essentially inside of the range of this first big candle for this entirety of this base that it's starting to build. And you can see it's building, no coincidence, right at my 753. And you can see how price is reacting to this level that I've had before we even got to all-time highs. And this is because it's a measured move. This is calculated price. And this is telling me that Netflix wants to go higher. I think that Netflix is going to go to the 800s. But what I have sketched here is a potential stop hunt, kind of what they've done on Costco the past couple of days, and maybe get a breakdown below the last 2 weeks lows. And then from there, get a strong rally back up and break out new all-time high. This setup looks so obvious that it's going to break out to new all-time high. They're probably going to try to stop people out and take people's positions to give that FOMO for when it does come back to the upside. And that is going to cause an even bigger move when they add fuel to the fire. And this is able to spring in price and get that massive move up. I'm hoping that this does nothing the next 2 days. I personally would rather it do nothing until at least Thursday. That way we can get options for cheaper because if this move is able to build for another 2 days, the risk reward on this trade is astronomical with how high this can go in range, whether it's going to go to the upside or downside. I absolutely love this trade, and I'm hoping that it plays out in the way that I would want it to. And I will update this one the next couple of videos as well and post charts on it because this is going to catch a lot of people off guard, I think, when this move finally comes. And we do need the overall market and potential sectors to start to align with this trade as well. I would like to see XLC, XLK be a little bit more strong than they have been and then get that strength in QQQ and SPY as well. If we can get all of these dynamics aligned together, this is going to be a monster trade. So keep it on watch. Do not miss these opportunities. Netflix, Meta, Tesla, and to the end of the year should not be off of your watch list or off of your watch whatsoever. They have 20 to 50, maybe even $100 move coming into the end of the year. Maybe not in one direct direction, but it's coming and volatility is going to pick up in the next few weeks. So be cautious with your trades, be picky with what you're going to touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.